In the holy city of Caldris, ash fell even when nothing burnt. It drifted from the cathedral towers in pale, ceaseless veils, dusting rooftops, statues, and bowed heads. The priests taught that it came from the eternal flame beneath the city, a sacred fire that consumed the sins of the faithful before those sins could poison the world. Citizens swept the ash from their thresholds each morning and thanked the radiant synod for keeping them pure. No one asked what fed the flame. At the center of Caldris stood the Basilica of the Unshadowed Sun, its white spires rising above the city like sharpened bones. Within its courts, the accused were brought before the tribunal of light. There, confessors dressed in cloth of gold questioned thieves, heretics, adulterers, blasphemers, and those unfortunate enough to have been denounced by their neighbors. Those judged repentant were branded. Those judged corrupt were burnt. Those who insisted upon their innocence were burnt most slowly. Mara Vey had watched her first purification when she was 9 years old. Her father, Justicar Mara Vey, had lifted her onto his shoulders so she could see above the crowd. A woman stood chained to an iron post in the square, her hair shorn, her lips split from questioning. The herald proclaimed that she had hidden forbidden books beneath her floorboards. The woman denied it. The crowd jeered. When the pyre was lit, Mara buried her face against her father's neck.
"Do not look away,"
he told her. She obeyed.
"The flame reveals what words conceal."
The woman screamed until smoke replaced her voice. Mara remembered asking whether innocent people screamed differently from guilty ones. Her father had been silent for a long time. Then he said,
"The innocent have nothing to fear from judgment."
Years later, Mara would understand that this was not an answer. At 28, she wore her father's white mantle and carried his iron seal. The citizens called her the Ashen Justicar, though she had never chosen the name. She had sentenced murderers, smugglers, oath-breakers, and false prophets. She had signed orders that sent men and women into the chambers beneath the basilica. She believed in order. She believed in confession. She believed that suffering, properly administered, could save a soul from something worse. But she no longer believed screams revealed anything. On the morning the High Luminary summoned her, the ash fell thick enough to turn noon into twilight. Mara crossed the basilica's inner sanctum and entered a chamber forbidden to all but the highest. Servants of the synod, High Luminary Veiler stood before a black altar, his golden robes gleaming in the light of 100 candles. He was an old man whose face remained strangely smooth, as though age itself feared leaving marks upon him. Upon the altar rested an amulet. Its chain was made of dark iron. Its setting resembled two hands clasped around a small, oval stone. Within that stone floated something red gold, threaded with delicate veins, an eye, not carved, not painted, preserved. Its pupil contracted when Mara approached. She stopped. Valor smiled.
"This,"
he said,
"is the holiest relic in Caldris."
Mara stared at the eye.
What saint did it belong to?
"Not a saint.
The eye turned toward her.
A child."
Valar lifted the amulet from the altar.
The boy was called Ilyan. He possessed a gift no confessor has matched before or since. He could look upon a soul and see every stain it carried.
Mara felt the relic watching her.
What happened to him?
He gave his sight so that others might see.
Valar stepped closer.
Our enemies gather beneath the city. Heretics call themselves the Unkindled, claiming the eternal flame is built upon lies. They have infiltrated the guilds, the Watch, perhaps even the Tribunal.
He placed the chain around Mara's neck. The preserved eye settled against her chest. It was warm.
"You will find them,"
Valar said. A pulse passed through the amulet. For one terrible instant, Mara smelled burning flesh.
"and the Cinder will reveal their guilt.
The official histories described Ilyan as a miracle. He had been born in the poorest quarter of Caldris during the winter of empty wells. His mother died, bringing him into the world, and his father vanished before the burial bells had finished ringing. The priests found the infant beneath the steps of a shrine, wrapped in a soot-black cloth. According to the synod, he never cried. He only watched. By the age of 5, Ilyan could identify liars. By 7, he could describe crimes committed in rooms he had never entered. At 9, he was brought before the tribunal and asked to examine an accused magistrate. The magistrate insisted he had never accepted bribes. Ilyan looked at him and began to weep. Beneath the magistrate's estate, investigators later found silver, forged ledgers, and the remains of 3 servants. The boy became known as the Blameless Witness. People came from across the realm to stand before him. Husbands brought wives, masters brought apprentices, priests brought rival priests. Each asked the same question:
What has this person done?
But the histories omitted one detail. Ilyan refused to answer. The discovery came to Mara through Brother Sen, an archivist whose hands trembled whenever he spoke. She found him in a sealed library beneath the eastern transept. Shelves leaned beneath the weight of censored manuscripts, confiscated journals, and trial records too dangerous to destroy. Brother Sen had been accused of altering sacred texts. The preserved eye at Mara's throat narrowed when she questioned him.
Did you falsify the records?
She asked.
No.
The eye grew hot. Mara seized the amulet. Flame burst across her palm. She cried out and tore her hand away, but no wound appeared. The pain remained deep and immediate, as though a coal had been pressed beneath her skin. Brother Sen recoiled.
What did you do?
Mara demanded.
Nothing.
The amulet pulsed again. Heat crawled up her arm. She drew her sword.
Tell me the truth.
I am.
The pain intensified. Mara advanced, anger overcoming confusion. Brother Sen stumbled against a table. A lamp overturned, spilling oil across scattered parchment. Its flame leapt unnaturally high. The archivist's sleeve caught fire. At that same instant, the eye against Mara's chest blazed. Fire engulfed her body. She fell to her knees, screaming, yet her mantle did not burn. Her hair did not blacken. The flames existed beneath her flesh, racing through bone and blood without consuming either. Through the pain, she saw a memory that was not her own. A child sat in this same library more than a century earlier. Ilyan. He was thin, barefoot, and dressed in an oversized white robe. Across from him stood 3 confessors.
Tell us what you see in Brother Tall.
One commanded. Ilyan stared at the kneeling priest.
I see that he is afraid.
What sin has he committed?
He stole bread
The confessors smiled.
From whom?
from the kitchens
For himself?
Ilyan shook his head.
for the children outside the western gate.
Her smiles vanished.
That is still theft.
Said the eldest confessor. Ilyan looked up at him.
You ordered the kitchens locked.
The vision changed. Ilyan stood before merchants, judges, soldiers, and nobles. Every time he revealed one person's wrongdoing, he saw the hidden crimes of those accusing them. A wife denounced her husband for infidelity while hiding poison beneath her bed. A judge condemned a thief after purchasing stolen relics. A priest demanded the execution of a blasphemer while privately doubting every prayer he recited. The boy did not see innocence and guilt. He saw chains. Every crime was linked to another wound, another cruelty, another choice made by someone who believed themselves untouched. When Ilyan accused one person, the vision showed him 100 hands behind the act, so he stopped accusing anyone. The confessors called this defiance. The synod called it corruption. The fire around Mara vanished. She lay gasping on the stone floor. Brother Sen had smothered his burning sleeve beneath a heavy cloth. His arm was blistered, but he lived. Mara looked at the amulet.
What is it doing to me?
Brother Sen slowly approached.
The records do not call it the Cinder of Revelation,
He said.
not in the oldest accounts.
What do they call it?
He opened a hidden compartment beneath the table and withdrew a leather-bound journal. On its first page was a faded drawing of the amulet. Beneath it, in a child's handwriting, were the words, "Let the one who kindles the flame feel it first." Brother Sen swallowed.
The relic does not reveal the guilt of the accused.
The preserved eye turned toward Mara.
It reveals the guilt of the judge.
Mara left the archivist alive. That act alone could have ended her career. Instead of arresting Brother Sen, she sealed the library and ordered the guards outside to admit no one. She told them the interrogation was continuing. Then she returned to the upper city with the boy's journal hidden beneath her mantle. Throughout the day, the amulet remained quiet. It did not react when a merchant lied about his taxes. It did not burn when a guard denied striking a prisoner. It offered no judgment when Mara passed men and women whose guilt was already known. Only when she chose to condemn did the eye begin to warm. The pattern became impossible to deny. When Mara ordered a pickpocket, whipped, heat gathered beneath her ribs. When she accused a watch captain of accepting bribes, sparks danced along the chain. When she signed a warrant for an unkindled sympathizer, flames crawled across her throat. The relic did not care whether the accused were guilty. It cared what Mara intended to do with that guilt. Each punishment she imposed became a flame within her. Each sentence made her share some measure of the suffering she authorized. At first, she endured it. Pain had always been praised within the tribunal. Confessors fasted until they collapsed. Judges wore chains beneath their robes. Purifiers pressed heated coins against their palms before executions. Suffering proved devotion. So Mara mistook the amulet's torment for a test. She worked harder. In 3 days, she arrested 27 suspected unkindled. She questioned printers, masons, undertakers, and 2 lesser priests. Each interrogation fed the fire. And with every burning came a vision. She saw a printer copying forbidden pamphlets because his daughter had been taken by the tribunal. She saw a mason discovering bones inside the foundations of the basilica. She saw an undertaker ordered to bury bodies whose tongues had been removed before trial. She saw a priest learning that the ash falling over Caldris contained fragments of human teeth. The unkindled would not gather in to extinguish the eternal flame. They were trying to expose what sustained it. Mara refused to believe the visions. Memories could be altered, relics could be corrupted, heretics could infect sacred objects with falsehood. Yet every inquiry confirmed what she saw. The bones existed. The secret graves existed. The ash contained human remains. Deep beneath the city, the eternal flame did not consume abstract sin. It consumed people. The condemned were not merely executed in the public squares. Their bodies were taken below the basilica and fed into an ancient furnace. Priests collected the resulting ash and released it from the towers as proof that Caldris had been cleansed. The city's holiness was made from its dead. On the 4th night, Mara returned home to find her younger brother waiting beside the cold hearth. Torin Vey had once worn the uniform of the city watch. Now he dressed as a dock laborer, though his posture still betrayed years of military discipline.
"You are arresting the wrong people,"
he said. Mara closed the door behind her.
You should not be here.
"You wear father's seal. I had nowhere else to go."
The amulet stirred. Mara's hand moved toward her sword. Torin noticed.
"So, it is true,"
he said.
"Vela gave you the eye.
You know about it.
The unkindled know what it is."
Mara drew her blade. The eye grew warm. Torin did not move.
Are you one of them?
She asked.
"Yes."
The word landed harder than any denial. Flame flared across Mara's chest.
You betrayed the Synod.
"I served the city long enough to learn what the synod is."
You helped spread sedition.
I helped people escape the lower chambers.
You attacked tribunal officers.
I stopped them from taking children.
The fire inside Mara intensified with every accusation. Torrin stepped closer.
You feel it, don't you?
Be silent.
The relic burns when you condemn someone.
It burns because you are guilty.
No, it burns because you need me to be guilty.
Mara raised the sword to his throat. The flames exploded. A vision tore through her. She was 17 again. Torrin, only 12, stood beside their father's desk. A forbidden charm had been found among his belongings, a crude wooden sun with its face scratched away. Their father demanded to know where it came from. Torrin refused to answer. Mara had seen him receive it from a servant's son. She knew the servant's family would be arrested if she spoke. She also knew her father's anger would fall upon Torrin if she remained silent. So she named the servant's son. The family disappeared that night. Mara had spent years telling herself she saved her brother. The relic showed her the truth. She had chosen which child would suffer. Her sword dropped to the floor. The flames receded, leaving her shaking. Torrin looked at her with grief rather than triumph.
We all carry guilt,
he said.
That is why the synod must keep inventing monsters. Without someone worse than us, we would have to look at ourselves.
Mara stared at the preserved eye.
What happened to Ilyan?
Corrin's expression hardened.
He looked at the founders of the synod and told them their sacred flame was fed by fear.
And then?
They cut out his eye.
The amulet blinked.
While he was still alive.
The boy's journal contained no account of his death. Its final pages had been torn away. To learn the rest, Mara had to enter the Chamber of First Light, a vault beneath the High Luminary's private chapel. Only Vala and the 7 senior confessors possessed keys. Mara possessed something better. Her father's seal. Orin Vey had served as Vela's executioner for 32 years. Even after his death, his name opened doors others were forbidden to touch. The guards bowed as Mara descended. Beyond the final gate stood a circular chamber lined with golden masks. Each represented a former High Luminary. Beneath every mask rested a sealed testimony, preserved so that the wisdom of the Synod's leaders would never be lost. Mara found the oldest record behind a mask whose face had been deliberately scratched away. The testimony belonged to Soliver, founder of the Tribunal of Light. The parchment was brittle, its edges darkened by heat. Mara began to read. Ilyan had not been born with divine sight. He had gained it by surviving the first flame. Long before Caldris became a holy city, miners discovered a burning fissure beneath the hills. The fire produced neither smoke nor ordinary heat. Those who approached it experienced visions of their own worst acts. Some fled, some confessed, some threw themselves into the fissure. The early priests declared the fire divine and built a shrine above it. But the visions gradually weakened. The flame required fuel, not wood, oil, or coal, but human anguish. Pain strengthened it. Fear clarified it. Death made it blaze. The priests began with criminals, then prisoners of war, then heretics. Soon the fire burned brighter than the sun. During the winter of empty wells, an orphanage collapsed above one of the furnace tunnels. Dozens of children fell into the sacred chamber. Only Ilyan emerged. He had walked through the flame unharmed. From that day onward, he could see the wounds people concealed. The priests hailed him as proof that the innocent had nothing to fear. But Ilyan rejected their doctrine. The fire had not spared him because he was pure. It had spared him because he did not believe pain was deserved. The flame could reveal guilt, yet it could not distinguish justice from cruelty. It showed every wrongdoing without context and every failure without mercy. To place such power in the hands of judges was to create endless condemnation. Ilyan begged the priests to extinguish it. Instead, they brought him before the city. Thousands gathered in the square as Solivar placed a golden crown upon the boy's head.
Tell us who among us is corrupt.
The founder commanded. Ilyan looked across the crowd. He saw thieves and victims, liars and protectors, murderers and survivors. He saw children punished for hunger, soldiers broken by orders, mothers betraying neighbors to save their sons, and priests who had begun with faith before power hollowed them out. At last, he looked at Solivar.
You want me to give your cruelty a holy name,
he said. The crowd fell silent. Solivar ordered the boy's left eye removed. The executioner used a silvery knife. When the blade entered, the first flame erupted beneath the city. Every torch in Caldris burned red. The executioner caught fire from within and died without a mark upon his skin. Ilyan's severed eye would not decay. It continued to watch. Solivar ordered it sealed in amber and worn by those who carried out the synod's will. But each wearer suffered the same affliction. Whenever they inflicted pain in the name of judgment, the relic burned them. Some went mad. Some confessed publicly. Some turned against the synod. The amulet was hidden away. Its true purpose was erased. Mara reached the final passage. There, Solivar described what became of Ilyan. After the mutilation, the boy was taken beneath the basilica and offered to the first flame. Before he was cast into the fissure, he spoke one final prophecy.
One day, the fire will climb into the hearts of those who feed it. On that day, the innocent will not be spared. The guilty will not be punished. All will simply be seen.
Mara lowered the parchment. Behind her, a door opened. High luminary Vela entered the chamber. 7 confessors followed him.
So,
Vela said,
the Cinder has shown you what we hoped it would.
Mara turned.
You knew.
Of course.
You knew what it did.
I knew what it could make you become.
The confessors spread out, blocking the exits. Vela's smile remained calm.
The unkindled could never be defeated by an obedient judge. We needed someone who could enter their confidence, someone they would pity, someone they would mistake for a convert.
Mara felt the eye against her chest constrict.
You gave me the relic so it would turn me against you.
So it would lead you to them.
Vela extended his hand.
And now you will lead us to their sanctuary.
Mara did not draw her sword. 7 confessors surrounded her, each trained to break minds before bodies. Beyond them waited guards loyal to Vela. Even if she escaped the chamber, every gate in the basilica would close before she reached the street. So she bowed her head.
You were right to test me,
she said. Valor studied her. The relic warmed. Mara had learned that it reacted not only to punishment, but to intent. The flame stirred whenever she reduced another person to a thing deserving harm. She forced herself to see Vela clearly, not as a monster, as a man, a dangerous man, a cruel man, a man responsible for countless deaths, but still a man. The heat faded.
I found Brother Sen's altered records.
Mara continued.
Through him, I found my brother. Toran admitted his allegiance.
And their sanctuary?
He will take me there tomorrow night.
Vela approached until only the amulet separated them.
Why should I trust you?
Because my father did.
Something shifted behind Vela's eyes. Orin Vey's loyalty had been legendary. He had executed friends, cousins, and fellow Justicars without hesitation. He had taught Mara that duty became sacred only when it cost something. Vala placed 2 fingers beneath the preserved eye.
It has already begun changing you,
he said.
Do you believe that pain makes you compassionate?
No.
Do you believe guilt is shared?
No.
Do you believe the condemned deserve mercy?
Mara looked directly at him.
I believe mercy makes confession possible.
The answer pleased him. Vela released the amulet.
Bring us the unkindled,
he said,
and your doubts will be forgiven.
Mara left the basilica before dawn. She found Torin in the abandoned bathhouse where the unkindled had established one of their meeting places. Brother Sen was there, along with printers, former guards, healers, laborers, and families of the condemned. When Mara entered, several reached for weapons. Toran stopped them.
She knows,
he said.
She knows enough to betray us,
replied a woman with burned scars across half her face. Mara recognized her. Ilyan Dane, once a confessor of the Third Tribunal. Mara had signed the order for her arrest 5 years earlier. Ilyan noticed the recognition. The amulet began to warm.
I was told you murdered 2 priests.
Mara said.
I did.
The heat increased. Ilyan stepped forward.
They were transporting 6 prisoners to the furnace. 3 were children. I asked them to release the captives.
And when they refused,
I killed them.
Mara's hand curled around the relic. It would have been easy to condemn her. Murder remained murder, even when committed against cruel men. But the relic demanded more than a verdict. It demanded that Mara see both mouths of the flame. One mouth consumed the victim. The other consumed the one who chose to burn them.
what happened to the prisoners?
4 survived.
And the other 2?
Elora's face tightened.
They died during the escape.
You carry them with you?
Every day.
The amulet cooled. Mara finally understood. The relic did not require forgiveness. It required recognition. To judge without burning, she had to perceive the accused as a complete human being. Their guilt could be real. Their actions could be unforgivable. But the moment she treated suffering as proof of righteousness, the flame claimed her to you. She told the unkindled about Vala's plan. Panic spread through the chamber. They had been preparing to expose the furnace during the coming Festival of Ascension, when every citizen would gather before the basilica. Hidden tunnels could bring witnesses into the lower sanctity. Documents would be distributed through the crowd. The dead would be shone. But the festival was only 2 days away. Vela intended to strike first.
We evacuate,
Toran said.
No.
Illyra replied.
If we scatter, the Synod will call us cowards and murderers. The truth dies with us.
If we stay, we die with it.
Mara looked toward the old bathhouse furnace. A small flame flickered beneath an iron basin.
The first flame grows stronger through pain,
she said. Brother Sen nodded.
And every execution feeds it.
What happens if it is given too much at once?
No one answered. Mara remembered Ilyan's prophecy. The fire will climb into the hearts of those who feed it. She looked at the preserved eye.
Valor does not intend merely to destroy you. He intends to burn every prisoner beneath the basilica during the festival.
Toran stared at her.
How many?
The lower cells can hold 3,000.
Silence settled over the chamber. Mara continued.
He wants the entire city to witness a miracle. A pillar of sacred fire rising from the basilica. He will claim the gods have judged the unkindled.
Brother Sane's face went pale.
That much anguish could tear the fissure open.
And if it does?
Illyra asked. Mara heard Ilyan's final words in her mind.
All will be seen.
The eye opened wider.
Then Caldris will learn what its holiness cost.
The Festival of Ascension began beneath the cloudless sky. By sunrise, the Basilica Square was filled with thousands of citizens dressed in white. Children carried paper suns on wooden sticks. Merchants gave away sweetened bread stamped with the seal of the Synod. Choirs sang from balconies, while ash drifted from the cathedral towers like winter snow. At noon, High Luminary Vala emerged. His robes shone brighter than polished gold. Behind him stood the 7 senior confessors, the tribunal guard, and a line of prisoners chained wrist to wrist. The crowd fell silent.
My children,
Vela proclaimed.
The shadow among us has been found.
Mara stood beside the prisoners. Her hands were bound. Toran, Brother Sen, Illyra, and more than 200 unkindled knelt behind her. Vela had captured them before dawn. Mara's false report had not deceived him. A spy within the bathhouse had revealed everything. The sanctuary had been surrounded. its tunnels sealed, and its inhabitants taken without a battle. Now Vala intended to transform their defeat into scripture. He raised his hands.
The Ashen Justicar, daughter of our most faithful servant, has confessed that she was seduced by the enemies of light.
The crowd murmured. Mara searched the faces before her. Some looked furious, some afraid, some disappointed. Most simply looked relieved that the accused was someone else. Vala turned toward her.
Do you confess your betrayal?
Mara looked up at him.
Yes.
The preserved eye rested against her chest. Vala had allowed her to keep it for the ceremony. He wanted the crowd to see the relic reject her.
What corrupted you?
He asked.
The truth.
The square became still. Vala's expression did not change.
Whose truth?
The dead beneath our feet.
A ripple passed through the crowd. The confessors moved closer. Vala lifted one hand, ordering them to wait.
You have been deceived by visions,
he said gently.
The relic shows guilt, and guilt cannot endure being seen. Your mind invented lies to escape judgment.
Mara rose to her feet. Chains clattered around her wrists.
Then let it judge me.
Vala smiled.
That is why we are here.
He signaled to the executioner. A brazier was carried into the square. Within it burned a coal taken from the first flame. The executioner lifted the coal with iron tongs.
Name your crimes,
Vala commanded. Mara faced the crowd.
I condemned people whose stories I do not know.
The coal flared.
I confused obedience with virtue.
Flames crept along the amulet's chain.
I allowed fear to wear the face of law.
The preserved eye began to shine.
I sent men and women into chambers I was too cowardly to enter.
The fire spread across her shoulders. The crowd gasped. Mara burned without being consumed. Vala raised his voice.
Behold, her guilt reveals itself.
Pain tore through Mara, but she remained standing.
I betrayed a child to protect my brother.
The fire brightened.
I served a system that made me feel righteous because others suffered more than I did.
The flames rose above her head.
And I wanted the people responsible to burn.
The amulet's pupil contracted. Mara turned toward Vala.
But wanting a cruel man to suffer does not make me just.
For the first time, his smile faltered. The fire around Mara changed. It no longer climbed upward. It spread outward. Thin threads of flame crossed the stones toward the high luminary, the confessors, the guards, and the assembled citizens. Vala stepped back.
What have you done?
Nothing,
Mara said. The flames touched his robes.
The fire is only showing us what we brought here.
The square vanished beneath the storm of memory. Every person saw through the eyes of the condemned. The crowd felt the terror of prisoners dragged from their homes. Guards experienced the pain of bones they had broken. Judges heard the final thoughts of those they sentenced. Parents felt the hunger of children whose food had been seized as punishment. Priests relived every confession they had twisted into evidence. And beneath it all, Caldris felt the dead. Thousands upon thousands of voices rose from under the basilica. Not ghosts, memories. The first flame had preserved every moment of anguish fed into it. The city had breathed those memories in with the ash, worn them on its clothes, swept them from its floors, and called itself clean. Vala fell to his knees. Around him, the 7 confessors screamed. Mara saw his memories. She saw him as a young priest discovering the furnace. She saw his horror. She saw him confront the former High Luminary and demand that the execution stop. She saw himself threatened, isolated, and finally offered a place within the inner circle. She saw him accept. Year by year, compromise hardened into doctrine. Fear became authority. Authority became appetite. Vala had not always been a monster. He had practiced becoming one. The vision ended. He looked up at Mara, tears cutting paths through the ash on his face.
Kill me,
he whispered. The crowd heard him. Mara's chains glowed red. She could have stepped forward. She could have wrapped them around his throat. She could have called it justice. The amulet waited.
No.
She said. Vela's grief turned to rage.
Then you are weak.
He seized the sacred coal from the brazier with his bare hand. His flesh blackened.
Mercy is only cowardice that fears completing the sentence.
He hurled the coal toward the prisoners. The ground opened before it landed. A column of white fire erupted from beneath the basilica, and Caldris began to burn. The first flame did not spread like ordinary fire. It moved through guilt. Wherever a citizen remembered an act of cruelty, flame appeared. It crawled across hands that had struck the helpless, along tongues that had spoken false accusations, and through eyes that had watched suffering without protest. Yet it did not distinguish between great crimes and small failures. A murderer burned beside a child who had once lied to his mother. A torturer screamed beside a woman who regretted abandoning a friend. The fire revealed everything and forgave nothing. Ilyan had understood its true horror. Not that people were guilty. No one could survive being reduced to their guilt alone. The square dissolved into chaos. Mara's chains melted as the amulet blazed. She freed Torin and Elira, then led the prisoners toward the basilica steps.
Why are we going inside?
Torin shouted.
Because the fissure is beneath it.
The tunnels will be full of fire.
So is the city.
Behind them, Vala stood within the pillar of white flame. His body burned, but he did not fall. He spread his arms and laughed.
Do you see?
He cried.
The final purification.
The first flame poured into him. His skin split with golden light. The citizens nearest him dropped to their knees, mistaking agony for transformation. Vala rose above the stones, lifted by the force surging through his body.
All are guilty,
he proclaimed. His voice echoed from every burning wall.
Therefore, all must be cleansed.
Mara entered the basilica. Inside, statues wept molten gold. Painted saints writhed within their murals. The voices of the dead thundered beneath the floor. Brother Sen led them through the eastern transept to a spiral stairway descending into darkness. The lower chambers were already open. Prisoners flooded the corridors, while guards fled past them. Some captives attacked their jailers. Others stopped to free people from cells. Some simply stood in shock, unable to believe the doors had opened. Mara descended farther. The heat became unbearable. At the base of the final stair lay a cavern larger than the basilica above it. Bridges of black iron crossed a fissure filled with white fire. Around it stood enormous furnaces connected to chimneys running upward through the cathedral towers. Ash filled the air. Within the fire, shapes moved. Faces, hands, open mouths. The accumulated memory of everyone's sacrifice to the synod. At the center of the nearest bridge stood a small figure. A boy in a white robe. One side of his face was empty.
Ilyan,
Mara whispered. The figure turned. He was not a ghost. He was the final memory of a child held within the flame.
You brought my eye back,
he said. Mara approached. Behind her, Torin and the others remained near the stairway, unable or unwilling to cross.
I need to stop the fire.
You cannot.
Then tell me how to waken it.
You cannot.
Above them, the cavern shook. Vela's voice rolled through the stone. All are guilty. All must be cleansed. Mara looked into the fissure.
Then what can I do?
Ilyan's remaining eye held no anger. That made his mutilated face harder to bear.
You still think the fire is the enemy?
It is killing the city.
The city faded.
Then the synod is the enemy.
The people obeyed it.
Then all of us are responsible.
Yes.
The words struck with the weight of a sentence. Mara tightened her grip around the amulet.
So Vela is right.
No.
The boy stepped closer.
Responsibility is not the same as damnation.
The cavern trembled again. Ilyan looked toward the thousands of faces moving within the fissure.
Fire shows what was done. It cannot show what comes after.
Mara understood. Guilt was memory without possibility. Judgment was the story ended at its worst moment. The flame could reveal wounds, but it could never imagine healing.
How do we give it an ending?
She asked. Ilyan pointed toward the amulet.
My eye has watched every judge who wore it. It carries not only the pain they caused, but every moment they chose not to cause more.
Mara thought of Brother Sen left alive, Torin uncondemned, Illyra seen as more than a murderer. Valor refused the execution he desired. Small mercies, incomplete mercies, but choices nonetheless.
The relic contains another kind of memory.
Mara said.
The flame has only ever been fed suffering.
Ilyan smiled sadly.
So, feed something else.
Mara removed the chain from her neck. The preserved eye looked up at her.
What will happen to you?
You carried it here.
The boy said.
It carries you as well.
Mara stepped to the edge of the bridge. The white fire reached toward her. Behind her, Torin shouted her name. She thought of her father telling her not to look away. For once, she obeyed him for the right reason. Mara held the amulet above the fissure. Then she let it fall. The cinder of the Blameless entered the first flame. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the fire blinked. Across Caldris, every flame went dark. Vala fell from the sky. The white pillar collapsed into the basilica, shattering towers and splitting the great dome. Citizens threw themselves to the ground as a wave of heat passed over the city. But the heat did not burn. It carried memories, not only crimes, not only punishments. The people saw a guard loosening a prisoner's chains when no one was watching. A baker leaving bread outside a quarantined house. A confessor altering a sentence so a mother could return to her children. A thief returning a wedding ring. A soldier lowering his weapon. A frightened sister choosing at last not to name another child. They saw no saints. They saw flawed people interrupting their own cruelty. The memories did not erase the dead. They did not pardon murderers or rebuild ruined lives. They did not transform guilt into innocence. They revealed something the first flame had never understood. A person was not only the worst thing they had done. The fissure beneath the basilica cracked. Its fire changed from white to deep red, then from red to soft amber. The faces within it closed their mouths. One by one, they dissolved into sparks. Ilyan stood upon the bridge as the cavern collapsed around him. His missing eye was whole again.
Is this forgiveness?
Mara asked.
No.
He said.
What is it?
Beginning.
The bridge broke. Torin reached Mara before she fell, catching her wrist as iron plunged into the fading fire below. Illyra and Brother Sen pulled them both toward the stairway. Behind them, Ilyan vanished with the last of the white flame. The basilica burned for 7 days. No one tried to save it. High Luminary Vala survived the fall. The sacred fire had destroyed his eyes and left golden scars across his body. When citizens found him beneath the shattered steps, many demanded his execution. Mara opposed them, not because he was innocent, not because he deserved release. Vala was imprisoned in the same lower cells where thousands had awaited the furnace. Each day, survivors came to testify before him. He was required to listen. No confession could shorten his sentence. No pain could sanctify him. For the first time, Caldris built justice around the living, rather than the appetite of the flame. The tribunal of light was dissolved. Its records were opened. The names of the dead were carved into the stones of the former square. Families were permitted to recover remains from the ash vaults. The white mantles of the Justicars were cut into burial cloths. Some citizens fled, unable to endure what the city had been. Others denied the visions and claimed the synod had fallen because the people lacked faith. A few attempted to rebuild the old order. There was no final purification. No single revelation cured Caldris of fear. Change came slowly, resisted at every step by those who preferred the clarity of condemnation. Mara refused all offers of leadership. She worked instead within the Hall of Testimony, where the accused, the harmed, and the witnesses were each permitted to speak. She never again wore her father's seal. Years later, workers clearing the lowest cavern found a fragment of amber inside the cooled fissure. Within it rested no preserved eye, only a tiny ember. It gave off neither heat nor light unless held by someone preparing to pass judgment upon another. Then it warmed, not enough to wound, but enough to be noticed. The fragment was set within a simple iron chain. No priest blessed it. No ruler claimed it. It was hung above the entrance to the Hall of Testimony, beneath an inscription taken from Ilyan's forbidden journal. Let the one who kindles the flame feel it first. The people named the relic the Cinder of the Blameless. Not because it belonged to those without guilt. There were no such people. It belonged to those who understood that innocence was not purity, and justice was not the art of finding someone worthy of pain. In time, the ash stopped falling over Caldris, but the city never swept all of it away. A thin layer was preserved around the broken foundations of the basilica, where children came to learn what had happened there. They were taught about the furnace. They were taught about the boy whose eye had been stolen. They were taught about the judges who called suffering sacred. And they were taught that every flame had two mouths. One consumed the condemned. The other waited for the judge.